Raymond Ackerman's legacy has been lauded as trailblazing. It comes as tributes pour in following the Pick n Pay founder's death at the age of 92. Just One Lab founder Simon Brown speaks to us now. Thank you so much for your time, Simon. It is a phenomenal journey that Raymond Ackerman has taken in terms of starting with only 4 stores and a big giant such as Pick n Pay becomes part of South Africa's retail history. Talk to us about how the business community views this particular individual.
Well, he was, to me, he was an absolute trailblazer. I mean, they started, as you said, 4 stores in Cape Town in 1967. But the idea of a chain such as Pick n Pay back then was not thought of. And this wasn't something which an idea he'd seen perhaps in Europe or the States or even locally. It was something which he just started himself. And the key point was he always just put the customer at the center of everything. And you really felt that. I remember, I think it was the late 80s when he sort of went head to head with government. He wanted to offer discounted pricing on petrol, and government said you're not allowed to change petrol prices. There's a regulated cost. He always seemed to be the consumer's champion, and he really took that mantle and, as you say, built it into a giant legacy. Interestingly, retail was in his family DNA. In the 20s, his father had started Ackerman's, which of course now owned by Pepco, but another brand that we all know and love as South African consumers.
What's also interesting is that Raymond Ackerman was able to pay it forward, starting foundations and organizations that would build an entrepreneurial spirit and basically support those who found themselves within the entrepreneurship journey. Let's talk a bit about that side of the man who is as big as the retailer he's built.
That's a great point, he certainly, he was an entrepreneur, and I think he realized that it's hard. I mean, it really is hard. Perhaps these days it's a little bit easier, but again, back in the 60s it was tough, and even now, being an entrepreneur is a tough and sometimes lonely and truthfully, sometimes scary career to take. And he really sort of helped and supported that and was very keen on helping young startups, previously disadvantaged individuals sort of break into retail, but more than just retail. They're suppliers as well, and those who were then selling on the shelves of Pick n Pay across the country. He really did, in many ways, trailblaze and set the scene for making a better country. But at the core of his DNA was always, what can I do for the consumer? What can I do for the average South African out there who's on a tight budget and needs to eat and also have a little bit of extra the pudding at the dinner table. He really was the champion of the consumer and focused in the minds. And South Africans know it. I mean, few will know the other big brands, the Checkers, the ShopRites, who was behind them and the like. But in Pick n Pay, we all know Raymond Ackerman.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Just One Lab founder Simon Brown, they're paying tribute to Raymond Ackerman, the founder of Pick n Pay, who has passed on at the age of 92.